Have you ever wondered why some people seem unstoppable before the world even wakes up? It's not luck. It's not talent. It's ritual, quiet, repeated decisions that most people overlook, especially in the first hour of the day. Because the truth is, your morning is not just the start of your day. It's the start of you, the start of your focus, your energy, your direction. And if you waste that sacred hour, you don't just lose time, you lose power. The Stoics believed that the first act of the day should be one of awareness, discipline, and presence, not chaos, not distraction, not running late and apologizing to the world for being behind again. But most people live on autopilot, reaching for their phone before they reach for their own thoughts, reacting before choosing, consuming before creating, and then they wonder why they feel anxious, disconnected, or behind. But what if, starting tomorrow, everything changed? What if you stopped treating your morning like a throwaway routine and started treating it like a ritual of transformation? In this episode, I'll walk you through 10 simple but powerful morning shifts rooted in Stoicism, psychology, and timeless wisdom that can help you wake up energized, focused, and completely in control of your life. No fluff, no hype, just practical mastery, one morning at a time. Are you ready? 1. Your morning is the first domino. There's a truth we often ignore. How you begin your day is how you begin your life, over and over again. Every morning you stand at the edge of a decision. You can drift into it unconsciously, reacting to the noise, the stress, the rush, or you can step into it with clarity and control. That first hour, the way you rise, think, move, and behave, sets the emotional temperature for everything that follows. It's not just a routine, it's momentum, and momentum, once set in motion, becomes your greatest ally, or your silent enemy. Mel Robbins said, "How you set your day up is how it ends up." Simple, director, and completely true. If you start your day with delay, your mind adopts hesitation as its default. If you start your day with chaos, your thoughts remain scattered. But if you begin with structure, presence, and intention, even in small doses, you begin to move like someone who is in charge of their reality. Marcus Aurelius, writing nearly 2,000 years ago, echoed this power. When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive. Before the emails, before the world asks anything of you, you've already been given something priceless: time, breath, choice, and if you don't own those first moments, the world will. Imagine your morning as the first domino. Once it falls, everything else starts moving. But here's the secret. You choose the direction. You choose whether that domino tips you toward procrastination or productivity, towards anxiety or clarity, toward reaction or intention. That single moment, the first 10 minutes after waking, can define your mood, your focus, your decisions, and your self-perception. This doesn't mean your morning has to be perfect. It doesn't mean you need to meditate for an hour, journal for another, and run 10 miles. It simply means this: choose your first move with care, because it sets off a chain reaction. And if you start strong, even if the rest of your day goes sideways, you'll return to that strength. That's the power of the first domino. So tomorrow morning, before you check your phone, before you check the time, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, what kind of energy do I want to carry into this day? What kind of person am I choosing to be starting right now? Then act with intention. Because the first thing you do is not just a task, it's a message to your entire system. This is the kind of life I'm building. This is who I am becoming. 2. Get out of bed. No snoozing, no excuses. The alarm goes off, and in that moment, half asleep, half aware, you face one of the most important decisions of your day. Do I rise or do I retreat? It doesn't seem like a big deal. Just 5 more minutes, just one more snooze. But that small act of postponing your day is actually a psychological message. It says, I'm not ready. I don't want to face myself yet. And when that message repeats itself day after day, it becomes a habit of avoidance, not just of the morning, but of life itself. Hitting snooze isn't rest. It's a ritual of hesitation. It's the first compromise you make with your potential before the sun even rises. And over time, those little compromises erode your self-trust, because deep down, you know. Every time you delay getting up, you delay becoming the person you want to be. Rohn said it clearly, discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. That bridge is built one morning at a time. And the first plank? Getting out of bed when you said you would. No negotiation, no inner debate, no drama, just up. That simple act becomes a declaration. I do hard things. I keep promises to myself. I show up, even when it's uncomfortable. And here's the deeper truth. The longer you linger between waking and rising, the more room you give fear, fatigue, and self-doubt to take hold. Your brain starts bargaining, your motivation slips, your momentum dies. But when you move quickly, when you rise without delay, you cut through resistance before it has a chance to speak. Alan Watts offers a beautiful counterbalance to this discipline. Stop measuring days by degree of productivity and start experiencing them by degree of presence. This isn't about rushing into work or grinding harder. It's about waking up with reverence, treating your time as something sacred, not disposable. You get one morning like this, one sunrise, one chance to step into the day with presence. Don't trade that for comfort. So here's the practice. When your alarm rings, sit up. Place your feet on the ground. Take one breath. And rise, not just physically, but mentally. You're not just getting out of bed. You're stepping into leadership over your own life. You're saying, I will not delay my becoming. Not today. And if you can win that first battle, if you can meet that first resistance with movement, the rest of your day begins to shift, because now you're not just awake, you're awake with purpose. 3. Make your bed. Start with completion. It's one of the most underestimated habits in the world, and yet it might be the one that transforms everything. Make your bed, not for your parents, not for Instagram, not even for cleanliness, but because the first thing you complete each morning shapes the way you face the world. It sounds trivial, almost laughably simple, but don't be fooled. This isn't about sheets or pillows, it's about identity. It's about training yourself to finish what you start, to take ownership of your environment, and by extension, your life. There's something powerful about beginning the day with a deliberate act of order, when the world outside is chaotic, and when your to-do list feels overwhelming. The simple act of making your bed becomes a quiet anchor. It says, I may not control everything, but I control this. And that subtle psychological shift is where strength begins. The Stoic philosopher Seneca once said, order brings clarity to the mind, and your bedroom, whether you realize it or not, is a mirror of your mental space. When your surroundings are cluttered, disordered, and neglected, it often reflects, or worse, reinforces that same disarray in your thoughts. But when you bring order to your space, you begin to bring clarity to your inner world. It's not just about visual neatness. It's about creating a sense of peace and direction before the noise of the day begins. Socrates, in his wisdom, reminded us that the beginning is the most important part of the work. We tend to think the beginning doesn't matter. We focus instead on the outcome, the big wins, the visible success. But the truth is, no great achievement begins with chaos. It begins with discipline, with rhythm, with small, almost invisible rituals repeated in silence. Think about it. When you wake up and immediately step over an unmade bed, your subconscious absorbs that signal, something's unfinished, and that energy follows you, from your kitchen to your inbox to your relationships. But if you wake up and the first thing you do is restore order, smooth the sheets, arrange the pillows, create a space that feels calm, you walk out with the subtle confidence of someone who has already completed something. You don't leave the room with chaos behind you. You leave it with control. That matters. And it's not just symbolic, it's neurological. Completing a task, even a simple one, gives your brain a small dopamine reward. That sense of achievement, however minor, boosts momentum. And momentum is everything. Because motivation doesn't create action. Action creates motivation. And the earlier you act with intention, the more likely you are to stay in motion throughout your day. Making your bed also sets a tone of self-respect. It says, "This space matters. I matter. I'm not living reactively. I'm building something, even in the smallest ways." You're not waiting to feel inspired. You're starting from discipline. And that changes everything. Some people say, "Why make it? I'm just going to get back in it." That's like saying, "Why clean my kitchen? I'm going to cook again tomorrow." It's not about whether the action will last. It's about whether you will last. Whether you're building habits that reinforce who you want to be. And that version of you, the strong one, the focused one, the calm one, doesn't wait for the world to be perfect. They start by managing what they can control. And when life feels like it's falling apart, sometimes making your bed is all you can do. But even then, especially then, it's enough. Because it's a statement. I'm still here. I'm still choosing order. I still believe I can create something better, one step at a time. So tomorrow morning, don't rush past it. Don't treat it like a chore. Treat it like a meditation, a training ground, a personal promise. Take a few quiet seconds to smooth the chaos into calm. Make it beautiful. Not for anyone else, for you. Because your environment reflects your standards, and your standards shape your destiny. And it all begins with the first thing you do. 4. Encourage yourself. High five in the mirror. How often do you meet yourself with encouragement instead of criticism? Most people begin their day by checking on everything outside of them, messages, news, opinions, tasks. But almost no one stops to check in with the one person they'll be spending the entire day with, themselves. And that neglect isn't harmless. It builds up over time, not as dramatic failure, but as quiet erosion. You begin to move through life detached from yourself. Your inner voice grows cold. The mirror becomes a place of judgment, not connection. But what if that changed? Mel Robbins introduced a powerful idea. Give yourself a high five in the mirror every morning. At first glance, it might seem silly, even awkward. But behind this simple gesture is a profound truth. You need your own encouragement more than anyone else's. When you high-five someone, you're telling them, "You're doing great. Keep going. I believe in you." So why not offer that to yourself, especially at the start of your day? And this isn't just motivational fluff. There's neuroscience behind it. When you perform a positive gesture while looking at your reflection, your brain releases dopamine, not because of vanity, but because your body associates the gesture with support and success. Over time, that repetition rewires your default state from self-doubt to self-trust. Carl Jung said it best: "You are what you do, not what you say you'll do." Every morning when you look in the mirror, you're meeting the person who will either follow through or fall short. And instead of shaming that person, what if you empowered them? What if, before the world judged you, you greeted yourself with confidence? Most people go through their entire day seeking validation. They wait for a compliment, a like, a kind word, and if none comes, they carry emptiness. But when you start your morning by giving yourself that validation, no permission, no waiting, you become less dependent on external noise. You move through your day more anchored, less reactive, more grounded in your own worth. Mel Robbins puts it simply: you deserve a little moment of celebration just for showing up. And isn't that the truth? Life is hard. You're carrying things no one sees, fighting battles no one applauds you for, and yet, here you are, waking up, trying again. That deserves recognition, even if it's just from the reflection in the mirror. So tomorrow, try this. After you make your bed and before you touch your phone, walk to the mirror, stand tall, look yourself in the eye, and give yourself a high five, not with sarcasm, not with shame, but with sincerity. Let it feel strange. Let it feel vulnerable. That's how you know it matters. Because that mirror is not just glass, it's a gateway. And the way you greet yourself through it can change everything about how you walk through the day ahead. You don't need perfect self-esteem. You just need to stop being your own enemy. You need to meet yourself like someone worth rooting for. Because you are. And if you can start your day by encouraging yourself, even a little, you'll notice something powerful. You'll stop needing the world to do it for you. 5. Don't touch your phone. Protect your energy. What's the first thing your hands reach for each morning? For most people, it's not water. It's not their breath. It's not even their own thoughts. It's their phone. That glowing portal to the noise of the world. Before their feet touch the floor, they've already opened the gates to messages, notifications, opinions, and other people's urgency. But here's the truth no one tells you. Every time you check your phone first thing in the morning, you are giving away your mind before you've even claimed it. You were not made to wake up and immediately react. Your nervous system isn't built for it. The moment you unlock your screen, your body shifts into response mode. Your dopamine levels spike, your attention scatters, and without even realizing it, your morning, the most sacred, quiet, powerful part of your day, is hijacked. Epictetus reminds us, freedom is the only worthy goal. It is won by disregarding things beyond your control. When you check your phone before checking in with yourself, you're surrendering that freedom. You're letting your peace be dictated by headlines, alerts, or someone else's chaos. And that's not presence, that's imprisonment. There's a reason ancient wisdom always begins with silence, with stillness, with breath. Because your first thoughts shape your lens, your first words become your tone, and your first interactions determine your emotional foundation. If the first thing you see is bad news or a comparison trap on social media, don't be surprised if anxiety rides shotgun all day. Lao Tzu said it with piercing clarity: care about what other people think, and you will always be their prisoner. But this doesn't just apply to ego, it applies to attention. If your first act every morning is to scroll, to compare, to consume, to chase. You've already placed your energy in other people's hands. You've locked yourself in their rhythm, their expectations, their drama. But it doesn't have to be this way. Imagine what it would feel like to wake up and just be with yourself. No buzzing, no pings, no dopamine loop. Just presence. Just breathe. Just you. That space isn't empty. It's powerful. It's where intuition speaks, where peace grows, where priorities surface. The more you protect that space, the more resilient and focused you become throughout the day. So here's the practice. Put your phone in another room at night, or at the very least, don't keep it within arm's reach. When you wake up, sit in stillness for just 2 minutes. Drink water, breathe, stretch, make your bed, look out the window, say something kind to yourself. And then, if you truly need to, check your phone, not as a reflex, but as a choice. This boundary might seem small, but it changes everything, because it teaches you that your attention is sacred, that your energy is not for sale, and that you are not a machine built to consume. You are a human being, built to create, to feel, to move with purpose. Remember, your phone can wait, but your mind, your life, cannot. 6. Move your body and mind for 10 minutes. Your mind is not fully awake until your body is, and your body will not move with purpose unless your mind tells it why. Most people start their day in a state of friction, not because their life is chaotic, but because their body and mind are disconnected. They open their eyes, but they don't move. They sit still, but their thoughts race. And they wonder why motivation doesn't come, why clarity feels out of reach. But here's the truth. Motion is medicine. You don't need to run 5 miles at sunrise. You don't need an hour of meditation or a gym membership. You need 10 minutes, just 10, of deliberate, present movement. And when that movement is aligned with mindfulness, something powerful happens. Your physiology and your psychology begin to cooperate. Your energy rises. Your thoughts slow down. Your presence returns. Friedrich Nietzsche once said, "All truly great thoughts are conceived while walking." He understood what most of us forget, that thinking clearly doesn't happen when you're hunched over your phone or trapped in your own head. It happens when your feet are moving, when your lungs expand, when your blood circulates. Because your body is not a separate machine, it's your mind's partner. And the moment you treat it that way, everything shifts. You might not realize this, but your emotions are deeply physical. Anxiety, often trapped in the chest. Anger, tension in the jaw or fists. Sadness, a weight behind the eyes or shoulders. And yet, instead of moving through these emotions, we sit with them. We scroll, we numb, we overthink. But Thich Nhat Hanh, a master of presence, offered another path. Walk as if you are kissing the earth with your feet. That's not just poetic. It's powerful. It's about intentional motion. It's about awakening the body with reverence and grace. When you move, even just a walk around the block, a few minutes of stretching, some conscious breaths while standing at the window, you're not just exercising, you're making a decision. I will not start this day disconnected. I will not live only in my head. That decision becomes a habit, and that habit becomes identity. There's also a discipline to this, because there will be mornings you won't want to move. You'll feel too tired, too busy, too distracted. But that's exactly when you need it the most. Movement isn't just about fitness. It's about state change. It's about breaking the inertia of sluggishness and reactivating your vitality. So tomorrow, before the rush begins, move, walk slowly, mindfully, breathe deeply, roll your shoulders, touch your toes, do push-ups, yoga, or just dance to a song you love. Whatever it is, make it yours and make it matter. Because when your body is awake, your mind can focus. When your mind is calm, your decisions are intentional. And when your day starts with even a single act of connection between your thoughts and your movement, you reclaim your rhythm. It's not about doing more. It's about remembering that you are not separate from your energy. You generate it. 7. Practice simple promises daily. What if the most powerful form of self-respect wasn't built through massive goals, but through tiny promises, kept quietly, consistently when no one is watching? We often believe transformation requires something dramatic, a 5 a.m. wake-up, a complete lifestyle overhaul, a radical change in diet, schedule, identity. But in reality, greatness doesn't come from intensity. It comes from consistency, from doing the small things, especially when they're no longer exciting, when motivation fades, and when no one is there to congratulate you. Aristotle put it simply, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. That means who you are becoming is not a mystery. It's not waiting to be revealed in some distant future. It's already forming. In the choices you make today, in the rituals you honor, in the simple promises you keep. Think of it like this. Every morning you're given a blank page, and every action you take is a word, a sentence, a decision in the story of who you're becoming. You don't need to write the whole book today, but you do need to write something meaningful, even if it's small. Wake up on time, make your bed, stretch for 5 minutes, avoid that toxic habit, drink a glass of water, speak to yourself kindly. These aren't minor acts. They're the building blocks of your self-trust. And self-trust is everything, because every time you keep a promise to yourself, you send a signal. I can count on me. And that message accumulates. It grows into confidence, into discipline, into inner strength. But every time you break that promise, even the small ones, you chip away at that trust. You reinforce the idea that your word isn't sacred, that what you say to yourself doesn't really matter. And that's where disconnection begins. Mel Robbins said, "Simple promises make you more you." And that's the beauty of this practice. It doesn't ask you to become someone else. It asks you to return to who you already are, beneath the procrastination and self-doubt. It invites you to stop waiting for the perfect moment and start honoring your own word, one small act at a time. There's something deeply Stoic about this. The Stoics didn't believe in spectacle. They believed in principle, in virtue, in showing up as a student of life, every day, in every choice. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be committed to aligning your actions with your values, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So here's the challenge. Choose one promise each morning. Just one, not 5, not 10, one. Something so simple you can't make an excuse for it. And then do it. Not because someone is watching, not because it'll make you feel productive, but because it's who you said you'd be. Over time, that daily promise becomes a ritual. That ritual becomes your identity. And that identity, that's the foundation of a strong life, not built overnight, but brick by brick, in silence, with intention. Because at the end of the day, success isn't about how much you did. It's about how often you kept your word. 8. Create for yourself before consuming others. There's a quiet war happening every morning between what you want to build and what the world wants to feed you. The moment you wake up, you have a choice. Do you begin the day by creating something for yourself? A thought, a plan, a moment of clarity? Or do you immediately hand over your attention to someone else's voice, someone else's urgency, someone else's life? Most people consume before they create. They scroll before they reflect. They check emails before they check in with themselves. And slowly, almost invisibly, they begin to live in reaction. They lose the morning's magic, the purest, clearest time of day, and fill it with noise. Not because they don't have dreams, but because they're too distracted to remember them. But imagine this instead. Before the world gets a piece of you, you give something to yourself. 5 minutes to journal, 10 minutes to write, a simple drawing, a short reflection, an idea, a sketch, a plan for the day ahead. Something, anything, that reminds you that you're not just a consumer, you're a creator. Rohn said, "Either you run the day or the day runs you." That begins with what you do first. The world is constantly trying to pull your attention outward, but greatness, purpose, clarity, they're born inward first. They begin in silence, in the space before the noise. And the Stoics knew this. Seneca wrote, "Life is long if you know how to use it." But most people never learn how to use it. They give away the best hours of their day to everyone else. They start the morning by absorbing opinions, news, drama, and then wonder why they feel drained by noon. But when you create before you consume, you flip the pattern. You lead. You decide. You reclaim the most sacred resource you have, your attention. This doesn't mean you need to write a book every morning. It doesn't mean you need to meditate like a monk or paint like a master. It means you need to do something, however small, that belongs to you. Something that moves you forward, even just a little. Something that reflects who you are and who you're becoming. Because when you begin your day by expressing, not absorbing, you shape your identity instead of borrowing someone else's. You step into alignment instead of reacting. You grow your inner world before the outer world tries to define it for you. So here's the invitation. Tomorrow morning, resist the urge to open your apps. Instead, open a notebook, a blank screen, a breath, a space that's yours. Write one sentence. Sketch one vision. Speak one intention aloud. Not for the algorithm, not for applause, for you. Because when you give to yourself first, the rest of the day becomes a reflection of that self-worth. 9. Progress beats perfection. Move the ball. Daily. What if your breakthrough wasn't waiting at the top of a mountain, but hidden in today's small, imperfect step? Most people never move forward because they're waiting for the perfect moment, the right plan, the right energy, the right motivation. But that perfection, it never comes, and in its place grows doubt, hesitation, and a quiet kind of guilt. The kind that comes from knowing you could have done something, but didn't. The truth is, greatness is rarely built in leaps. It's built in inches, in small, consistent, sometimes invisible movements, the kind no one claps for, the kind no one sees. It's built in showing up again and again, when it's boring, when it's hard, when it feels like nothing's working. Because momentum is more powerful than motivation, and progress, no matter how small, is always more valuable than perfect planning without action. The research backs this up. A study from Harvard Business School identified the progress principle. The single biggest driver of motivation and satisfaction in work and life is not massive success. It's daily progress on meaningful goals. Not arrival, not applause, not recognition, just movement. Nietzsche echoed this truth in a deeper way. He who has a why to live can bear almost any how. If your why is strong, if you remember who you want to become, You don't need perfect conditions. You just need to move the ball forward. 1 inch, 1 representative, 1 page, 1 act of courage. That's it. And yet, we resist. We think if it's not excellent, it's not worth it. But that belief is the enemy. It paralyzes us. It tells us if it's not perfect, don't even try. But the Stoics would say otherwise. They would remind you that virtue is forged in daily effort, that character is built in repetition, that the only thing in your control is your willingness to act, not how flawlessly you perform. So, what does it mean to move the ball daily? It means making progress even when you don't feel ready, writing 1 paragraph when your mind wants to avoid the whole project, choosing a healthy meal when it would be easier to default to junk, saying no when you usually people please, practicing your craft for 10 minutes when no one is watching, following through on the hard thing you promised yourself yesterday. These are not small things. These are everything, because every action is a vote for the person you're becoming, and the more votes you cast, even if they're small, the stronger your identity becomes. That's how confidence is built. That's how transformation begins. Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. They don't exist. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to do something today that proves you're in motion, that you haven't given up on yourself, that you still believe in the person you're building. So here's your reminder. The work doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to be done today, then done again tomorrow, and again the next day. That's how empires are built. That's how character is carved. That's how your future self is made real. 10. Your morning routine is who you're becoming. There's a quiet truth hiding in plain sight. Your future is already happening. It's not some distant event. It's being built, choice by choice, breath by breath, morning by morning. We love to imagine that transformation arrives suddenly, that one day we'll wake up focused, confident, and in control. But the reality is much simpler and more sobering. You are becoming someone right now, every morning, in the silence, in the repetition, in the rituals you either choose or neglect. Alan Watts reminded us, the future is a concept. It doesn't exist. And yet we live as if our best self is waiting at the end of some big event, some success, some turning point. But no moment is bigger than this one. The real transformation begins when you stop outsourcing your growth to the future and realize it's happening every time you choose presence over distraction, discipline over delay, intention over autopilot. Epictetus said, "First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do." That's the blueprint. Not motivational slogans, not perfect plans, but honest clarity. Who do I want to be? And then, what would that version of me do right now at 6 a.m. before the rest of the world even opens its eyes? Your morning routine isn't just a set of tasks. It's a rehearsal for the life you're building. It's the part of your day when you're least interrupted, least influenced by others, and most in control. What you do in that window matters more than you know. It defines your rhythm. It shapes your emotions. It conditions your identity. You either start as the leader of your day, or you start as its victim. There's no neutral ground. If you begin your day hitting snooze, reaching for your phone, rushing, reacting, you're programming yourself to live passively. But if you begin your day with even the smallest act of clarity, movement, reflection, or creation, you are programming yourself to lead, not with noise, with consistency. And the most powerful part? No one needs to see it. You don't need to post it, share it, or prove it. You just need to live it. Quietly, repeatedly. Because the version of you that feels confident, clear, and capable doesn't arrive by chance. They're built through habit, through repetition, through mornings. So here's the final question. What kind of person are you becoming at sunrise? Are you rushing through life half awake, pulled by everyone else's demands? Or are you anchoring into yourself, choosing discipline, presence, and direction before the world even knocks? The answer isn't found in your words. It's found in your routine. And the beauty of it is this: you don't need to wait for permission. You don't need to have it all together. You just need to begin tomorrow morning on purpose. Because the person you want to become is not somewhere far away. They're on the other side of the next step you take. So now you know the truth. Your life doesn't change in some distant future. It changes tomorrow morning, in the dark, in the silence, in the small decisions no one else sees. That's where strength is born. In making your bed when no one's watching. In rising with discipline when comfort tells you to stay. In encouraging yourself before anyone else does. In choosing your breath over your screen, your peace over your pace, your focus over your fear. You don't need a perfect plan. You need a consistent beginning. Because if your morning is full of intention, your day will follow. And when your days align, your weeks begin to shift. Your habits sharpen, your identity strengthens. Your life, slowly, quietly, powerfully, begins to reflect the person you always knew you could be. This isn't about perfection. It's about alignment. It's about becoming someone whose actions match their vision, whose first hour of the day becomes a sacred contract with their future self, a daily reminder. I am not drifting. I am choosing. I am becoming. So tomorrow, don't just wake up. Rise. Don't just react. Lead. Don't just plan the life you want. Live it. One morning at a time. If this episode helped you see your routine in a new light, subscribe. Share it with someone who's ready to rise with intention, and let us know in the comments. What's the first promise you'll keep tomorrow morning? The world may be chaotic, but your morning, that's yours.